So let's start. Yeah.
Yeah. Or should we wait for other viewers to, you know, come on
Yeah.
live? Because I think we
Yeah,
could.
some people are joining. Hi, sir. Thank you for joining. Okay, Simran is your daughter. Oh, wonderful. Hi, Simran. How are you? Hi, Dave. Thank you for joining in. So today we are going to talk about the crucial aspect of early learning and how it is important, for the early year development कि हम बच्चे को एक holistic environment provide करें, एक supportive learning उसकी family और उसके home से उसको मिलनी चाहिए. And for that today we have Sonika with us. She has been in education sector as an early childhood educator and a consultant for over 2 decades. Hi, Sonika. I welcome to our platform Being Sentient.
Thank you, Purva, so much for inviting us, for me to on this platform. But I'm sorry for the glitch up which happened before this.
No problem. That happens all the time. No worries. So Sonika is from an organization called Learning Time, and they have a fantastic early education program for children. So yeah, we are going to talk about that today. Yeah, Sonika, please tell us something about yourself.
Purva, thank you so much. I've worked with almost for 2 decades in the field of early educational development as an educational counselor, and I've interacted with thousands of parents. I've also found out that parenting is not just about physical aspect or diaper changing. Parents have a huge role to play. And I'm sure you also understand being a mother yourself, we have a huge role to play in child's mental and emotional foundation.
That's
And the
yeah.
first few years are very, very critical. Since I also have 2 kids now, they're like, they are like adults now. But I also picked up this concept when my kids were babies, and now they're both studying in international universities. But let me tell you, the emotional development and the physical aspect is very, very different. And
Yeah.
we basically focus more on the physical diet, but we need to also focus on the mental and emotional foundation. And don't worry, it's not like a rocket science.
Oh,
So I will be sharing more about this when we go ahead with it.
definitely, definitely. We at Being Sentient also endorse that, how crucial is early learning because we know that 80% of the child brain is developed by the age of 5. There are so much more neural connections in the early years that then they are in the adulthood or even in the teenage. Yeah. So when do you think, Sonika, that the learning for a child begins? According to you,
So
what's the age?
according to the research says that Apurva, the first few years are very, very critical, and the learning begins in the womb itself. And I'm sure from 6 weeks of conception, the learning starts happening. Prenates can see, they can hear, they can feel and remember, and even taste before they are born.
Yeah.
And I'm sure being a lot of young mothers, we've experienced all that when we are told to read good books and, listen to good music. And we also have an exposure of listening to Mozart and all, when we're expecting a baby. Because now, and enough and more research is also available on this, part where they tell you that, that learning begins in the womb itself.
Yeah. Wonderful. So yeah, at Being Sentient also we work with, new mothers and would-be mothers where we, help them with Garbh Sanskar and tell them how they can connect with their baby in the womb. So definitely the learning begins in the womb. And we have all heard the story from Mahabharata, definitely, yeah. So why do you think that, parents should focus even before the child starts going to a preschool, the first 3 years, because for going to a nursery, a child has to be 3 years. But from birth to 3 years, then also the parent should focus on early learning. So, what are your thoughts on that, Sanika?
So, the most formative years for children are the foundation years, where the maximum development is happening is the first 5 years, what we say. And parents' interaction, Apurva, is actually the most important part in influencing their personality later. And these are the foundation years where they actually, attributes, where their foundations are laid for attribute, their attitudes, their characteristic, everything is laid down right now. Nothing happened. Foundation doesn't come later. So we really have, family, and that's the best thing we can do to our child because the family time is the best, greatest gift you can give it to our child.
Yeah,
And the family plays a very, very important and the crucial role in upbringing, their foundation years.
sure. So, how do you think a family's role can, help in a holistic development of a child?
Okay, so when we talk about the holistic development, it's a very wide, like a word, because holistic development means the combination of IQ and EQ. And when we
Sure.
talk about children are actually natural learners, they pick up whatever they see around them and they just grasp and pick up everything. So when we talk about, since they have the ability to actually learn the maximum at this age, which is 0 to 8 years, their IQ and EQ is, being formed at this time. So IQ, what I mean by is I'll just elaborate a little about the IQ. IQ is comprises of thinking skills. They're understanding, they're open to learning, the respect for oneself and others, and ability to basically take decisions for themselves. So we should develop that ability in children. We need them to be thinking kids when they grow up. So we want the kids to actually decide that instead of telling them all the time what to do, they need to decide what they need to do. We need to tell them that. So it's
Yeah.
it's up, as a parent, we need to decide what kind of exposure we're giving it to children around that age. So the experiences and the exposure is very, very important for them to actually develop their, mental and emotional foundation.
Okay. So, Sonika, so we have to look at the EQ and IQ both, and it's very difficult to find, both the things in, in the books, in the classroom, in the school. So,
Mhm.
what kind of products, and what are the attributes like to on which the parent should focus while choosing a product for an early learning development?
So, Apurva, I would say that, the concept, the product, what we pick up, it should be very fun for both parents and the child. And there should be a lot of interactive visuals with text, what that goes with it, so that the children can grasp and visualize and retain it. Yeah. And which makes them the better learners in the later years. So we have to be very decisive about what we choose for them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely. So, I think that quality time should be a time where the child and parent both can connect, and have a fun time together. It should not be like something you are, I think parents, mostly working parents, they struggle to, spend quality time with their child. And when you have something like a fun product or a fun game, fun books, so that the time both can enjoy, they connect, they talk, talk about not just the routine things, but more than that. More,
Absolutely. We
and
need to
even
have
the
a tool for the parents.
observation. Yeah,
So basically, parents need a tool to spend a lot of quality time with the kids, rather than
yeah.
just talking about just the academics. वो तो वैसे भी pick up कर लेंगे बच्चे later.
So, so
We need
true.
to develop their thinking skills right now, and we should
Absolutely.
do it in a very interactive and a fun learning approach, so that they can
So
become.
when we are yeah. So when we are talking about the fun learning approach, why don't you, tell us more about this A plus product of yours?
Sure. So, basically, I would, if I tell you about the learning time, the A plus program, we've been, around this, for more than almost 2 decades now. And why is it called A plus? Because we're working on their awareness, their abilities, and their attitude. And
Okay.
awareness we're talking about is things around us.
Okay.
So there's so many times we have things around us where we do not even notice it. So
Okay.
what we're talking about is things we should notice about it and actually develop their curiosity. Like I'll give you an
Okay.
example. Maybe why we don't even talk to our kids about why giraffe is the tallest animal in the world, or maybe talking about like a dog's bark. We're taking the child to the park, and we don't even talk about a dog's bark where it actually starts barking to strangers more than the owners. So those little
Yeah.
little things, if we start talking to them in a more interactive way, we can actually make them great learners later in life, so they can question later, and the right kind of meaningful things. And ability, what we're talking about is their thinking skills. So Apurva, we talk thinking skills mean like the reasoning skills, the analyzing, logical, critical, communication, and these are the skills which help them to actually, go far in life when they grow up. They're able to handle situations in life. They're able to handle the workplace, their family members, how they relate to people. And that is what
Yeah.
attitude is all about, because attitude is an emotional strength, like
Yeah.
what we when we talk about, and we keep reading about all this today. There's a lot of research available about the mental health,
True.
but
True.
nobody tells us how to do that, how to implement those things, when they're very little.
Yeah.
We only focus when the kids are older, when they start having issues. But we need
Yeah.
to know, work on these very in the subconscious years of learning.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So, how important you think that the attributes of attitude, ability, and awareness are helpful in long run on life?
So, Apurva, these are the ingredients and the pillars of the healthy and sound brain. And when you are aware of the surroundings, you're able to examine and handle situations. You're relating to people well, you're relating to your family and your workplace better. So many times, in Hindi we have the, जो हम बयान नहीं कर पाते वो हमारे दिल में ही रह जाता है. So we need to actually able to express ourselves better, and we are the ones, as a family, we need to actually work on the child's development when they're in the foundation years. Only then they're able to express themselves when they're a little older, and communication is the biggest thing what we can do with our children today.
So, so how do you think that EQ, you know, can be developed through activities and the things that are covered in the A plus program?
So EQ can be done in a very silent way when we give them stories. Stories play a very important role in their development. And we need to not teach them the models of the stories. We need to actually, teach them. And the stories needs to be very practical and simple, which comes down to their level. And we have something which we can tell you that, working on themselves, the hard work, patience, perseverance, not giving up. And these are the stories which schools don't teach them. Schools only teach you academics.
Yeah.
So we need to work on them very silently with these kind of stories, because in the first 6 years, they remain in their subconscious learning.
And the life skills are developed with these stories, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, Sonika, tell us for the people who would be interested in this program, how can, they join you or, know more about learning time and the A plus program?
Sure, Purva. So just as I mentioned about the A Plus program a little while ago, so A Plus is like a food to the brain, and we have a complete structured program which parents can use it with their children at home. And that's the quality time they can spend with them and making them better learners later. So whoever is interested to know what, this is all about, they can connect with me or leave a number with us, and we can get in touch with them and we can give them a presentation. And the presentation, when we talk about is I'll be sharing few things about the presentation, a little briefly about it, like how, we talk about the child's brain develop in the first 5 years, and what does the research say about it. Secondly, we would talk about in the presentation is what is active parenting all about, why it is important in today's time. And then we can also, how we can take our 15, 20 minutes, and give them a strong foundation to your baby, which is actually going to have a lifelong success, for their strong success of happiness and being, like being emotionally stable. How to
Yeah,
effectively use the play therapy, what we can do with them when we are playing with them, and some
yeah,
simple and very scientific activities what we can do with them. Because just remember always, as parents, as young parents, our role in a child's life is very, very important,
yeah,
and doing random stuff won't help your baby. So we need to actually don't wait about what to do. Just leave us a
yeah.
number and we can get back to you about this.
Sure. Wonderful, Sonika. It was so nice having you and understanding, that there are actually products in the market that can help in developing the IQ and even the EQ of the child, because that's very rare to find these days. There are products that just work on the logical and critical thinking, the activities, but having the whole concept with us as a parent in our home and providing that holistic, environment, a complete environment to our child is very much needed these days, because I think that will also help in a lot of problems like, reducing the screen times, providing a structured, even free play structure, I can say that, because if the child is going on their, own and picking an activity or a book that interests the child, so I think that will make a huge difference in the learning process of the child.
Absolutely. And just don't bother about it. Like I said, it's no rocket science. We're just trying to give you a content.
Yeah.
And we know what works, best with children, with parents, because we've been there for so many years now.
So
So
do
we know
you
what works for parents.
provide some kind of a capacity building for the parents to understand the product?
Yes, we do have like training sessions also for parents to come and explore this understanding of the concept. And
Okay.
this is, like I said, it's like the three pillars of the foundation, what we're trying to share with the parent. That is
Okay.
their abilities, awareness, and attitude, which all kids, wherever they are in the world, for their success in school and in life later.
Okay. That's wonderful, Sonika. Thank you for joining in. We'll sure get connected. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Apurva. Thanks for your time. Bye bye.
Bye.